Stones we carry, clothes we lived in, all the tales we will tell our children.
So we're taking a break from grinding at outside on the keel level. Kind of made sense with the cool air being what it is. It's going to be more comfortable to work inside the boat than outside of it. So what we're doing is tackling the keel stub inside the boat, which means loosening the keel bolts, cutting away a layer of fiberglass that's skinned over a wood core, scooping out all this generally rotted plywood, and then rebuilding. Catalina 30s and quite a few models of Catalina actually suffer from what's called a Catalina smile. And that's because early models had this wood core in the keel stub. Since we grounded, we're pretty sure water's ingressed in, and part of our rebuild is just scoop it out so that the smile never comes back. So what we're doing is stiffening the keel stub and making it stronger and more robust as a part of our rebuild. While Jake's looking for some gloves, because we misplaced them, fun, just gonna let you know what we're doing right now. The keel bolts are 1 1/8 inches in diameter, and the stud, the amount of the keel bolt itself sticking up, is about 2.5 to 3 inches. So between the two, I need a pretty deep socket. So that's what I'm gonna go hunt for. And meanwhile, Jake is going to get the bilge kind of cleaned up and whatnot. Because of how everything went down, we didn't get to properly winterize the boat in time, so our water filter actually ruptured, and any pressurized water that we still had in the lines basically froze, expanded, and when it melted, it spilled all into the bilge. So it's a little messy in there for multiple reasons. That, and we forgot about some potatoes, so it got a little rank.
What? What were you saying?
I said I named our generator Wendy.
Why?
I don't know. Just
Because it looks like it's a redhead?
it just
How
are all redheads supposed to be Wendy?
I don't know. Did that fit?
No, it did not fit.
Okay, well, go get your thing.
I'm going to. You want to say something to camera? Camera. Do I say camera weird? Camera.
Are you speeding?
Yeah, I've been speeding.
So, while Nick goes and does the easy thing, so the bolts that Nick found in the garage didn't fit.
Socket.
The socket that Nick found in the garage didn't fit. So he's got the easy job, and he's going to go get ones that do fit.
Oh yeah, because it's so easy to go from store to store hunting for something that hopefully is in stock. I tried searching online.
And while he does the easy thing and gets to go on the little shopping spree, I've got the dirty job of getting the water out of the bilge. So, that should be fun.
So, the first thing that is up is trying to get the keel bolts off. I went to Harbor Freight to pick up a socket that was 1 1/8 in size and as deep as I could find, hoping that they would fit the studs. But unfortunately, it does not. I need about double the length. So I'm going to try to see if I can use a wrench to start loosening these bolts. You ready? So yes I can untighten these by hand. I don't know if they're loose or what, but I mean I have been told that they should be torqued down at about 110 pounds of pressure. So so it's feasible for me to, I guess, undo it by hand. It doesn't feel like it's torqued down 110 pounds though. It felt a little too easy. I don't know. But yeah, I can undo these by hand, so that's great news.
I'd take the long way home if it meant I'd go walking by your door. Together we could see where the road will lead.
So far, I'm thinking the keel bolts are going to be okay. This is very prelim. But the reason I say that is that there's sealant actually all the way to the top of the bolt, kind of in between the threads and whatnot. So, and it seems like it's still got a little bit of bite to it, so it doesn't seem like water's been, you know, creeping in through the keel bolts. Still early to tell. I got the top plate that still needs to be pulled off, and yeah, preliminary, hopeful good news. But we'll see as we continue to dig deeper
What are you doing
into the
next?
unknown.
What are you doing next?
Well, I've got 2 more bolts to remove. Then I have to pull the steel plates out from around the keel bolts. And lastly, start drilling some pilot holes to see how rotty the wood is underneath this fiberglass. Just that puddle of water still back there. Gross. Next thing I'm doing is drilling some pilot holes just to see how rotten the core is, as if that really matters, but I'm going to do it anyways. It's actually also to try to gauge how deep the core is so that I don't, you know, overdo it. I've marked off 2 1/4 on my drill bit, and yeah, we're going to get started. That's mushy. Very, very mushy. It really didn't take much to figure that out.
Okay. Move it around your fingers and mush it.
Just, this is mush. It's like I can feel how wet it is in my fingers. I can feel it. It's gross. It's really gross.
You're getting it everywhere.
Well, you wanted me to move it around my fingers, so I moved it around my fingers. What I'm thinking might be one of the easiest ways to do this. So now that I know the approximate depth, what I could do is take a drill and just like keep drilling holes one next to each other, and one after another next to each other, yada yada yada, and that way then take a chisel and like start scooping it all out. I think that might be the easiest way to go about doing this. Everybody else is like, cut the fiberglass first, then take chisels and just like start peeling it away. And I'm like, if I turn this into Swiss cheese with a drill bit, I think it'll be a little easier. Duck face. What do you think?
Just making sure it gets me. Personally, what my thought was taking like a oscillating tool and then just like cutting the fiberglass in the bilge and then just peeling it up and then like theoretically taking like a spoon and just scooping out the core.
That was my initial plan, and that's what a lot of people do, but I think drilling a bunch of drill bits so that it looks more like a cheese grater down here, it'll be like you'll be able to chisel away big chunks nice and easy, especially since they'll all be at the depth that they need to be.
When I say go for it, I'm not the expert for this one.
You're along for the ride.
I am for this one. I am along for the ride because it's literally like we're just destroying a piece of the boat. Like, however we do it doesn't really matter in the end, as long as it gets done.
Fair enough.
It'll become a much different story when we talk about rebuilding it, because I do have thoughts.
Oh, so do I.
In regards to fixing some of the
like the fact that there's a puddle of water. I'm gonna call it a puddle of mud.
Yeah.
Puddle of mud. What show's that from?
It's a band called Puddle of Mud.
Oh, it's a band called Puddle of Mud.
Yeah. No, but like the biggest thing is down by this.
The last keel bolt.
The last keel bolt down here creates like a little dam, so a lot of water gets stuck behind it, and so you kind of almost need an excess amount of water to get to the rest of the bilge, to get to like the bilge bumps.
Yeah.
But for now, let's just drill all these holes.
You got it, dude.
So what are you doing now? Or what are you doing?
Trying to get these plates up that.
Did we switch places?
Trying to get these plates up that are on the keel bolts.
Gotcha.
Which I'm assuming is probably held in by 5200, which is permanente. Not exactly easy. I'm like one tiny bit up so far. It's gonna take forever. Try to cut this off now.
There is no end if you believe. Just take my hand and come with me. Oh, you're like the sun coming up. You make my world come alive. Oh, you know I can't get enough. You walking by my side. You are my sunshine.
So sexy.
Oh.
Sexy hat. Sexy hat.
Find it at sailingixion.com.
I see it in your eyes. You radiate the light that leads me home. There is no
Cinematic. Make it look like something out of Dion BB. Get some Dion BB Rob Marshall combo over here. Chicago.
I don't think I have the budget to build a town and light it with silks. Sorry.
You know, a little bit of Memoirs of a Geisha, Into the Woods, Chicago. What else have they done together? A lot. Like, they work together a lot. A little bit of, what is it, Conrad Hall. How about that?
Every cinematographer likes Conrad Hall. It's
You
kind
know
of, it's kind of like everybody being like Orson Welles. Ooh,
You know who we can get, though?
we can't.
David Fincher.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that natural light. Lars von Trier.
Get me a light bulb. I'm done. Get me a light bulb and a wheelchair. I like this perspective. I take a break. Jake gets to work. It's pretty great. I mean, Jake does the work, but I'm enjoying watching. Yeah, I don't get to film enough.
So we got 3 of the plates off. So it's got an obscene amount of 5200. It's really gunky and gross. The next to last piece of metal, specifically this one, was covering up some cracking in the fiberglass, probably from where the previous owner ran it aground.
One of the previous owners.
Um,
We don't know which one.
Obviously, I'm not worried about all that. But it was the fiberglass in the bilge just cracked, so instead of fixing the glass, it seems like they just slapped the 5200 and the plate on it.
Yeah.
But in doing so, it traps all this water. You're talking about 5200 plus all the bolts plus all the everything else, and clearly it just wasn't sealed very well because.
Well, and that's a spongy surface. Like,
It's just
it's
like,
not. It'll allow the keel to flex if it's not like tight.
and so it's just like it like held all the water, so it's just really gross and gunky. But 3 of them are up. There's 2 more, forward and back one. Obviously I can't. There's a battery box here. This needs to be moved before we can do anything up to the front. But the back one we need to get to. But this is specifically the plate I was mentioning that actually caused like a little dam, and you can see why, because of this thick layer of 5200 here. So when the water would come down, it would get stuck here, and then it would have to basically be a quarter of an inch to get over it and keep going. But if anything that wasn't would just sit here and kind of seep into the spot.
That's also our grounding plate, right?
Yes, it is the grounding plate. It is the grounding plate, and it was disgusting. But that is all we're going to do for today, because we need to charge the batteries for the drills, because they're pretty much dead. Plus we need to charge all the camera batteries and GoPro batteries before we get to drilling into the bilge and getting all of this fiberglass and core out. So that's what we're going to be doing next.
It is cold today. It's a couple of days later since we unfastened the keel bolt and got those plates up, and it's just me today. Jake is working on some different updates of things here and there. He's always trying to make our social media game better, which I applaud him for. Anyways, so today I'm going to start drilling some more holes and see if I can find the bottom of this thing. Yeah, it's exciting. Pretty quickly, I realized drilling holes, not gonna do it. Yeah, this is like hardy wood. It's not, I mean, it's sopping wet. It's sopping wet. It's still really stiff. It's fine. We started and we're gonna continue. But this is not an easy job. Not an easy job. And you know, I gotta say, it is really nerve-wracking to cut into your boat at any time. If anybody else feels that way, like, you're not alone. I'm doing all this with the assumption that I will be able to put it all back together. That's the assumption everybody takes, but it's still a little nerve-wracking every single time. So we're not used to cutting into the boat and it being, you know, hey, no big deal. There's definitely a level of anxiety every single time, and especially on this one, because like we're literally cutting into the thing that keeps the keel where it needs to be. Yeah, let that one sink in. I also have to say, whose ever bright idea at Catalina to put wood in the bilge, I hope you were really slapped. I mean, come on. This was not a good design choice. I mean, clearly they know that. They gave out the schematics of how to fix it, but like, yeah. Then again, it's lasted over 40 years. Or, not over. It's lasted 40 years. So, this is about a foot worth of work lengthwise by 6 inches. Took me a better part of a day. So, maybe I'll have this done in a week if I do some every day. Don't know. We'll see. Either way, that's as far as I'm getting today. This is brutal on the knees, brutal on the head. I do have to clean off my chisel because you can actually see some of the salt water that was saturated in the wood. It's starting to dry, and I don't want my chisels to rust. Yeah. So yeah, I think I found a pretty good system. My big thing is I wanted to hit bottom first, which I have. I want to hit bottom first. That way, one, I knew how deep I had to go the entire length, and two, so that I could try to take as big of chunks as possible rather than peeling back one layer at a time throughout the entire length. That seemed, well, silly and messy. As you could probably tell from the time lapse, it got kind of messy at times, but towards the end here, I really got a good rhythm going. So tomorrow I'll do some more, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to repair this by early next week. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. That's that red button down below. And please hit that notification bell. That way you are reminded every week when we put out a new episode. We want to hear from you, so if you like what we're doing, even if you don't, leave us a comment down below, and don't forget to like and share with your friends. If you're really enjoying our content, please head down to patreon.com. The link is down below, and help us get down the road. And lastly, we put our episodes out weekly, so come back next week and see where we are with our journey. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next week.